Hello and welcome to the show, everybody. I am Marta Rowland, and I am here with a new episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast. So tonight is not going to be our traditional episode because there are. I know here locally there's a election coming up, April 4th, and I wanted to talk about that because it's about stuff like that and why it's so important for people to go out and vote. And it's crazy because if you don't vote and vote in this election, because I've heard so many people who are in their 40s, 50s, or whatever how old they are, saying like, "Oh, my vote doesn't matter and it's not important," and it is important. And if you care about a friend or family member who is part of the LGBTQ community, um, or in an interracial relationship, you need to go out and vote. And not only is you know the judges that's on this election that's coming at us on there, there's other stuff on there. So one of the other things that's on there is um one of the questions is if people should have, I guess, depending on the crime, if they should have the right to vote. Depending on how violent the crime is, I guess if they're accused of real violent crime, they would not have the right to bail out. um that is something I can 100 completely agree with. If they are in there for a very violent crime, for murder or anything of that nature, murdering multiple people, then yeah, they should be bailed out. Or attempted murder, trying to run over somebody with a car. Yeah, then they should be able to not get bailed to bail out. One of the other questions was in Wisconsin if what am I thinking about? If abortion should be legal. I do agree that abortions should be legal. I feel like the people who are making these decisions who feel like it should be illegal, it's not their body. Like, how would somebody feel if somebody said, "Well, you know what, you have cancer," and then somebody else come along and say, "You know what, I don't believe in the cancer treatment, so you're not allowed to get cancer treatments," or what you need to be able to beat this, or what somebody come along and say, "You know what, I feel like you just don't deserve something." And you don't have a choice in it. So I believe if when it comes to the people, they should have a choice on what they do with their body. That's why I agree that abortions should be legal, um, in that matter. And I feel like this is something that shouldn't be fought. I feel like this is something that shouldn't be a matter. If I am raped by somebody, if I'm a woman and I'm raped by somebody, why would I want to keep that child? Somebody has said uh that this woman had got raped and her son ended up becoming an NBA, an NBA player in the NBA. That's fine. That's great. You kept the child. But for some people, it's not like that. It's like you look at that child every day and you're reminded of what happened against your own will. And I don't think many women will want to live through that. Um, Another thing that was on the ballot was, do we feel like people who are able-bodied people who is receiving government benefits should have to actively be looking for work in order to receive benefits? This is something I 100% agree with. If you are a body person and you're just sitting on your ass, there's no reason why I feel like you should be sitting at home getting government assistance if you're not even trying to make something of yourself or trying to get out the situation that you're in. Then yeah, you should not be able to receive benefits, and you should have to go look for a job, actively be looking for work in order to be receiving benefits. Now, on to the judges. So the reason why I wanted to talk by judge or going out and vote for these judges are so important because there are, once again, there are these laws, these idiot laws that are being passed right now that singles out certain groups of people because you have these Christian extremists who trying to push their ways on people. And if you know me, I don't believe the Bible. I don't believe in the Bible. I believe that there is a higher power, but I don't believe what that says. Like the Bible has written so many times, and then certain words has been transferred into the American version or the English version, and certain words, all this kind of stuff. Like I just don't believe in that. Like the Bible to me is just a bunch of fictional stories, like fictional stories that we don't know that really happened. And I just can't see it. Like I just can't. There's the Bible is just full of it's to me it's full of crap, to be honest. I mean, I don't care how people see it. You can hate me all you want to. That's just how I personally feel. Like, and then for people to try to push what's in this man-made Bible, because I don't feel like anything in that Bible is the word of God, to be honest. Because if that was the word of God, then why is these Christians doing everything that's not in there? That they're doing everything that God says not to do, they're doing it. So if this is and they believe in it so much, and then God says this, God says that, and why aren't you following the words of God for real? I mean, be real with yourself. So, like I was saying, it's so important to vote for the judges because there are laws getting passed that's affecting a ton of people. Like to me, America has become one of the places that I feel like no one should live in. People who from the other countries that look over say think how America is so great. It's not. America does not take care of the people. The government does not take care of the people. The government will let you lay on the street and die, but want you to get up, want you to go and fight this war, protect this land. They just let people just die. They feel drag queens reading to children is more danger to kids than is a more and these people able to get guns easily and going in these schools and shooting up the schools, or it's all kind of things that they can be doing besides singling out a certain group of people. Oh, so in Iowa, uh, this was a trap because this is how Roe versus Wade was turned over in the Supreme Court, and they're they're targeting so much different stuff to the point it's ridiculous. So they're targeting so much stuff. Um, in Iowa, they put a bill forward, which this was a setup because they know that people are going to try to sue, so this bill would be legal. And then once this bill, the judges be like, I don't want to touch it, and just keep going up and it keep going up and it keep going up and it keep going up, it keep going up to reach the Supreme Court. And once this bill reaches the Supreme Court, that's how when things would change. So there was this bill filed in Iowa that they trying to get through in Iowa where they won't recognize same-sex marriage. And once again, if that goes up to the Supreme Court, they're gonna say it's not exactly written in the Constitution. That was written back in the 1700s. So yeah, this is not legal and it's illegal because according to the Constitution, it has to be a man that was born a man and a woman that was born a woman who are able to get married. So not only would it sing about two men who's getting married, but it's also affect people who are trans want to get married. They will not be able to get married. And I feel it's like, why are y'all full of so much hate? Like, what has the LGBTQ community has done to you? Like, they are productive citizens. They are productive citizens out there. They pay their taxes. They take care of their children. They have children. Um, and I just feel like pretty soon they'll try to take away, their people rights to adopt because of their sexual orientation, which I don't believe is the thing that should happen because if that kid is going into a loving home, going from an abusive home to a loving home, why does it matter who is raising that kid? Like, just because a kid parent has two gay dads doesn't mean that that kid is going to necessarily turn out to be gay. These kids, and more than likely, even I don't like they're not they're it's if they do turn out gay, so what? It's not because your gay ways onto this kid and you know and they're like, oh, you have to be gay. No, it doesn't work. You love you like you like young like what you like for a long time. You might seem very confused about what you like. You really interested in, but eventually you find out what you like and what you like, and there is nothing they can do about it. That can be done about it. You like what you like. Um, Tennessee. First of all, World Wrestling Entertainment, if y'all don't step away from Kane, who's a Mary Knox County, Glenn Jacobs, I should say, Glenn Jacobs, known as Kane in WWE. If y'all don't take a step back from him and separate yourself from him, uh, as much of a WWE fan I am, I will call for a boycott because you guys have not only is he a mayor in a state who gay people, people of the LGBTQ community, he's a member of a state that believe this group of people should not have rights. And considering that you guys employ people who are of this community and not willing to stand up for them or put out a statement saying anything that you don't agree with this, I feel like WWE needs to be boycotted. And those people who are of the LGBTQ community who are on the active roster should boycott also. So in Tennessee, I got my notes there. So Tennessee passed a House bill. Tennessee House bill passed. This bill completely guts marriage equality. What does that mean? So this bill will allow the clerks to deny marriage license to same-sex couples, interfaith interfaith couples, interracial couple that the clerk does not agree with. So what that means is if you go in Tennessee, if you go and you apply for your marriage license, and that person that's sitting at the desk or whoever's in charge of who's going to look at your paperwork and approve you for license or not, and that person says like gays, they could deny you just because they feel like it's not right. Law, they can say that, hey, you know what, I don't agree with their way of life, so I'm going to deny them, and there's nothing that they can do about it. If you're an interracial couple, and this one really pisses me off because my best friends, they are interracial, her and her husband, and they're married. And this pisses me off so much because it's teaching their daughter what my mom and dad loving each other is not right. The world doesn't see that as right. The world doesn't see that as okay as my mom and dad loving each other. And that pisses me off. And I just don't understand. She's gonna grow up or probably read about this and look at this, or however they teach kids in school now, which is you go to Florida, you're not even allowed to teach kids about interracials, gays, or anything. But can't even say gay in Florida. Um, but she's going to be taught that my parents being in love is wrong. And what if I love somebody who's not the same shade as me, then I'm doing something wrong. And I don't feel like that's right. Two people love, they should have the right to get married. And just like with interfaith, if you don't understand, basically, if you come in there and you're Jewish or you don't practice a religion, or you might be do whatever it is that's outside of that person's religion of Christianity, whatever it may be, they will not allow you to get married. But we're not that those people of that community, whether it's interracial, the LGBTQ community, or if you don't follow their faith, they want you to pay taxes. Some of them fight for this country. Some of them have died for this country. And you want them to be productive citizens. You want them to follow rules and all these other kind of things. But I don't have the right to love and be happy. To be loved and to be happy. Why does that bother you so much? What goes on inside of somebody's house behind closed doors? Or if I'm walking down the street holding my partner's hand, like, why does that bother you so much? It's not like we're coming on to you. It's we're throwing, gay dust on, or however they think, like, oh, you hear, boom, we're throwing a gay at you. Now you're gay. You catch the gay. Like, I don't get it. Why is it so much hate in this country? And I feel like for a period of time we were doing good. We were progressing, and it just felt like people were happy. and it's just feel like, why do we got to keep fighting these fights? And it's feel like, and I feel like ever since Donald Trump got in the office and spreaded so much hate, it's like he made it okay to hate gay people and trans people and lesbian people. He made it okay to hate black people, to hate people of a different religion. He made it okay to hate people. But these same people who are making it okay to hate people were the same one that was hanging around drag queens and doing drag themselves and all these other kind of things like gender affirming care. Why would you take that away for teenagers? If I feel they feel like, because I know what it's like for them. Like I don't know that experience, like to feel like you were born body. I simply know what that experience is like for them. So, for them to, I guess that thing at age, like, yeah, I feel like I want to become a man, and like I said, they go through and talk to therapists, and they're in their right minds, and they're like, yeah, I'm sure this is what I'm going to do. Then let them do it. Why does it bother you that that is something that child decided they want to do? What's the difference between them doing it as a teenager and doing it as an adult? Like, what's the difference? If that's who they're going to be, that is who they're going to be. There is there, nothing that you can do about that. All you doing is prolonging something that's going to eventually happen. So just let them do it, you know. And then, if what is to say, that young person who feel like they're in the wrong body, and because okay, well, I can't get on the hormones or do the stuff that I need to look and feel the way that I want to, the person I want to be. So because I wear my hair short, or I wear boy clothes and stuff like that, I'm being teased, I'm being mocked, and I feel like kids have it harder nowadays. And some people are like, no, these kids are just soft. I'm like, no, some of them, they have it harder. For our generation, when you were bullied, it stopped at school. Unless you came home to like a horrible household, like bullying stopped at school. But now, due to social media, it never stops. Once you leave school, you go home, you're on social media, you're being bullied on there. People are talking about you. People are probably tagging you and stuff, commenting, DMing you, saying all these kind of mean and hateful things towards you. You log onto the internet, and you're seeing all these people saying your way of life is wrong, the way how you feel, the way how everything, the way how you are wrong. So imagine being a 12, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 year old, however old they are when they start this process. Imagine being that person and then they end up taking their, and they're seeing this and they take their own life. Then what? So instead of them letting them become the person who they want to be, you rather for them to take their lives. That's not right. It is not okay for you to do that or to make them feel like that's an option. And I don't feel like that's an option for them to take for them to take their lives. Like, I don't feel like that. America needs to do better. America, I don't know. It's like, when it's bad when Canada reaches out to the LGBTQ community and saying they're allowing asylum for people to the community to seek asylum in Canada because it's unsafe for them to live in America. That's how you know things are bad. Like, normally America is the place where people come for safety and to feel to reach for a dream, to live a good life, to become someone. Now America is just a place of broken dreams where you don't have control over your everyday life. And these people who were born in the 30s and 40s and 50s and even 60s that's still in office, they need to leave. They need to get out because Their way of life is way different from our way of life in 2023. You don't know our way of life. You don't understand our way of life. We don't want to, nobody wants to live like how it was back then. Y'all want to live during a time where women didn't have the right to vote. Black people still had to use separate water fountains. Some places, bubblers, wherever you live at, they say, you know what I mean. When you're drinking water fountains, they want to live in a time where black people had to go in through the back door. They want to live in a time where blacks didn't have rights. Blacks didn't mean anything. They might even want to go back to a time where we are working in cotton fields and being whipped. That's what I feel like those people who are in office, who were around for John F. Kennedy and all these other presidents, and like I said, in the 30s and the 40s and 50s and 60s, hell, some even in the 70s. No, I'm not going to say 70s, but the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Those are the people who really needs to not be allowed to run for office. They just need to get out of office at this point. They should not hold a government position. This is why I keep preaching that there should be a cutoff on how long you could be in Congress or in the Senate, or after a certain time you just can't be in that position after a certain age because you're disconnected from reality. You're disconnected from the people who voted you in. You're disconnected from the world because I don't see what you see. And then I saw a teacher in Florida. She was like literally crying. I don't know, I wouldn't say crying. I don't know, some quit. There's already a teacher shortage in Florida. And because of this new law now that they have in Florida, these teachers have to go through and anything that's like flashcards, books, movies, YouTube videos, you name it, everything has to be scanned into the system, and it takes 2 weeks to hear back on whether or not you can teach this or have this in your class. So it's like, who has time for that? How are you supposed to teach kids? You got to wait 2 weeks for approval for something. Like these kids, it's just they're not going to have an education at all. The students in Florida, and if you are living in Florida and you are in a public schools, I really recommend that you guys pack up and go to another state because that government there is so totally fucked up. It really is. Things need to change. This country needs to change, and I keep hearing people talking about America is going to have another civil war. It's probably a good chance that that's going to happen. What's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever the fuck her name is, this stupid bitch. She want people, the states, the southern states, to leave the United States again, and all this other kind of stuff. It's just horrible. It's horrible. Um, Thank you all. So I'm gonna end the show here. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast in Wisconsin for pop culture current events. And I know we haven't did enough of pop culture lately. I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah, I'm sorry about that. We'll try hard. Um, Make sure you guys head over to repsports.com and use code Marta1 to receive 5 to 10% off your purchase. And don't forget to head over to habitsnewyork.com and use code Anthony4 to receive 20% off your purchases. And don't forget our subscription services, $4.99 on Spotify for exclusive subscription only content that we're working on. So if you want to be a part of that when that content starts to drop, make sure y'all hit subscribe to that. $4.99 a month. Thank you all. Oh, you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias. You can find me on there as Martel Roland. So thank you all for tuning into this episode of Same Cast Different Day podcast, and I will see you on the next one.